Greetings, family. This is Kyle Dixon, co-founder of Precise Minds Filmworks, educator for 20 plus years, cultural enthusiast.
And I'm KAYODE Bentley, president and founder of 4T's Teaching Teens to Think, whose mission is to help inner city youth identify their inherent skill sets in order to complete their education, establish a career, and ultimately start a business if they choose to. Professor at Fordham University, where I teach students who are pursuing their master's degree in social justice.
And with that said, welcome to the Grand Rising Collective, a podcast whose purpose is to cultivate greatness and excellence within ourselves and our communities. The name itself is from the morning greeting of Grand Rising, which we interpret as starting off the day with a greatness mindset so that we are able to rise to the occasion of whatever obstacles and challenges we may face.
And that's why we focus on engagement, relevant information, and empowerment for people in our communities who want to be and do better in their daily lives.
Welcome to the Grand Rising Collective. Greetings, family. Welcome. All right. Welcome to another episode, another rendition of the Grand Rising Collective with yours truly, Kyle Dixon here, one of the hosts, and then my brother, my partner in podcast, co-host KAYODE Bentley. How goes it, sir?
Going well, brother. Going well. And we got now is podcast webcast. So if you see the flyer,
right.
webcast.
Podcast webcast. Right. We're trying to set the trend, family, you know. So we got a really important guest for you all today, a colleague of ours, for this particular edition of the Grand Rise Collective. And this brother here is a real estate developer, investor, father, historian, activist, Mr. Thomas Humphrey. Tommy, man, welcome, brother.
Man, I appreciate it, guys. I really like what y'all doing, man. This is great, man.
Welcome, brother. Thank you, brother. Trying to provide the avenues and the platforms, man, for brothers like yourself, people that are actually doing work in the community, man. A lot of people talk it, but there's many other people that really are doing the work behind the scenes that don't get the pull. So yeah, brother. I mean, let's just go into it, man. I mean,
right,
let's get in.
Hold on, before we do that, Tom, can you do us a favor and just run down like who you are?
Exactly.
And once we do that, then we can dive right into the conversation, so people know who you are and what you're about. So
absolutely. So name is Thomas Humphrey. I represent Karma Homes, also Karma Real Estate Academy. I started teaching real estate investing in 2019. People for years have been telling me, man, you got to teach. So just for a really long time, to be honest, ever since I probably graduated from high school, people have been saying, dude, you're going to be a professor or a teacher or something like that. So, but I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Man, I'm from a small family, but my extended family, my mom and my dad's side are humongous. And a lot of educators, a lot of professional people. But we got a huge family. I have close to over 30 aunts and uncles. So we come from a big, rich family. And but I played sports, played college ball. I got drafted by the Pirates and didn't take the money and then end up transferring from the college that I was going to TSU, where I met my ex-wife now. But I have four beautiful children, 2 boys, 2 girls. And like you said before, one of the first things that I'm proud of is just being a father. That's the greatest gift, right? So taking care of your kids, teaching your kids, and walking the path so they can stand upright for them. So yeah, I'm very proud of that. But yeah, you guys y'all know I can go.
Right. Yeah, I know, bro.
Thanks for sharing that, man. Okay, Kyle, I'm sorry, man. Now they know. Man. They know what we bringing, what you bring.
And tell me, I didn't know, man. Are you talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates, the baseball team?
I got drafted by the Pirates. It was crazy. They called me, and I had just turned 18, so legally in the United States, they can contact you and start asking you certain questions. Well, they can talk to you, but they can ask you without your parents being present. And I had just turned 18, And he asked me how much did I want. I told him 125,000, and if I get hurt, got to pay for college and everything. And he was like, all right. He offered me some chump money, and yeah, and I said no, I'm gonna go to school. So yeah.
Wow, brother. I never knew that, man. I never knew that. You know, and you know, Tommy was introduced to me through another good friend of ours, Alvin Singh, who we interviewed in one of our earlier episodes last year. So you definitely want to check out that episode too, dealing with tech and activism, you know. And Tommy, speak on, man, the activism part, brother, because I think you know, before we really start going into real estate, people need to really understand how those two connect. But talk about like your activism background and where that comes from.
Well, I mean, like the background really comes from a knowledge standpoint, but first, I say second, it came from a knowledge standpoint, but first, I was the type of kid that you know, mom always had me at the NAACP. We were signing people up to register to vote, and as a kid, I was always at the marches and everything, and then it got to the point to where we saw that as not being effective anymore. My colleagues, comrades, college, you know, students, friends, family, brother Al Spin, you talk about, you know, Alvin Singh. We just kind of didn't see the activism part needed to ramp up, and it didn't need to just be just marches in the streets. So one of the things that I studied, and I know this might be a little controversial, but some of my best teachers are the Black Panthers, from a marketing standpoint, from publication, but also how to effectively move people. And one of the things that they took from Malcolm is, and I would say, you know, brother Malcolm X, was that if we don't have land, you can't really have any independence. And if somewhere in that message got lost, we continued with the begging and asking and pleading for policies and rights and reform and everything, but nobody went and bought land, not enough anyway. And so we kind of lost that. So I didn't, and so I kind of put down the activism part. But I kind of felt like as an entrepreneur activist type, because I knew we had to do the land, we had that's affordable housing, and once you have land, you can have your freedom to build your community and all of that. So I knew it was going to come full circle. But yeah, but as far as the technology goes, we were talking about this yesterday. That, you have to use what's most readily available, and that's just, you know, so in marketing. Or whether it's combat or whatever, you're gonna use what's readily available. So if it's just your hands, that's all you got. Well, then you gotta do whatever you can with your hands. But right now, and social media, everything is extremely prevalent, and so we got you know, do what we're doing now. We got to take advantage of these different platforms and make the most of it. The only thing that I suggest that we just do not become dependent upon these platforms. So as much as possible, we got to get into that search engine optimization, right?
SEO.
We got to get we could come here and meet, but we have to get the people from this platform to a domain, a website that we own and control, and get the hits there, because then they're more organic, and you can also control the flow of information, but also you can control the transaction. So yeah,
that's very good. I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name. But speaking on that, there's this actor, kind of / activist. His name is Romney Malco, and he created his own platform because he experienced the challenges that you're talking about on these servers, where they limit his speech and all that. So he created his own platform, similar to like a Facebook, similar to like a YouTube. So I think it's called PEP, P-E-P, Tribe something. I'll put it in the description at the bottom, what we're talking about in the edits. But to your point,
years, me and that brother gonna have a conversation. I've been saying that for a minute. and he got hip hop roots.
Yes,
he got hip hop roots. So I love the way the brother represent his culture, because he's an indie guy. I think he's from from Jamaica or Barbados or something like that.
Jamaica.
Or Jamaica or something. But he's always I know it's not Puerto Rico, but he's always repping his culture, and he's always staying true to his hip hop and just entertainment. And he always uses whatever platform, and that's a good example. Whatever platform he has, he gets a lot. He gets kind of blackballed because
a white ball. You know?
Yeah, you know what's funny? He's one of the first people I saw that watched the Breakfast Club just didn't say nothing. They just let him go. He went for like an hour. They didn't say nothing.
Wow, did he? I kind of remember that.
Off. Watch Romney Malcolm on Breakfast Club. It was amazing.
I will.
He goes, man. But
yeah, dang. Okay. Okay, yeah. So, and it's interesting, Tommy, like, cause you and I have had conversations. We've all had conversations in reference of the W.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington debate, quote unquote debate, or differences that they had, And one thing I did begin to learn when I really started to read about Booker T was that if you control the land, that's the primary source of income and wealth right there, right? Having connection with the land, and it leads to so many other things, not just economically, but also politically.
Yeah.
Also politically,
When you control the land, you control the resources, then now they don't have to come in. Well, now they have to beg for your vote, right? Because you're paying property taxes and you're paying for different things that they need, right? It could be agriculture, it could be anything, it could be hemp, right? It could be it could be anything. But to your point, that struggle, I think a lot of the young activists right here. And I hate to sound like the old dude, but I think they really need a history lesson on that piece. They get it. You're gonna gloss over it, but they don't understand even back then how controversial Booker T was. And they were like, "Oh man, ain't nobody trying to work in the field no more." And he was like, "Hold on, chill out. Understand this is they don't make no more grass, right? They don't make no more soil, right? So you got to have this." You was working it as a slave. Now you don't have to work it as a slave. This is yours, right? And we traded that in for the diploma cap, right? And that was the thing. The boys got, and that's one of the reasons why I want to tell you guys, the boys was brilliant.
Yes.
But when you get phrases like the most brilliant mind of this century. That is propaganda, and they gave him that title. That's what y'all. If y'all, I don't know if you guys know that they said he was the most brilliant person in our century, right? And tell me the reason why. It's a couple of things, but one of the reasons why is he basically almost by himself shut down the UNIA movement, the Garvey stuff,
right? Universal Negro Improvement Association, right? UNIA
after Garvey. Okay, and
Kim and Garvey had disagreements.
When everybody, he was threatened. He was threatened by if you didn't see the things exactly the way he see it, and even if you agreed with him, he still had to lead the conversation and the debate and everything. If he did, or he had problems with Carter G. Woodson. The brother had problems with everybody. It wasn't until he got older in his life and he saw the error in his ways.
And he moved to Accra. He moved to Ghana.
The day before or the day of King's speech at the Washington Monument, because I believe it was announced and King got word, or either he knew, and he said the old man has passed, right? So the damage was done, and he saw an error in his ways, and he spoke on it, right? So what the brown bag theory or the talented 10th theory,
talented 10th theory.
He said, I've just made a whole lot of people that really essential and paraphrasing. He really making a whole lot of people that are really not reaching back into the community. They didn't. They fled. That was the first. That was the first brain, African brain drain, right? That was the first one. That's a whole. We could talk about that.
Definitely, and brethren, like Tommy, definitely. Me graduating from Fisk University, growing up in the Nashville community, you being in the Nashville community, that's one thing we talked about at Fisk a lot was the whole talented 10th theory with Du Bois. Du Bois is one of the most brilliant minds we've ever had in our existence as far as here on this American soil. But like you're saying, the propaganda comes when like he's our best. He's the best mind that Negroes have ever produced. That's where, like you said, the propaganda nonsense comes in, because that differentiates and that alienates him from everyone else that also had a lot of valid things to say.
And it split his ego.
Yes,
and that was, he already had a huge ego.
Sure, he sure did. He came from prominent,
more, and it made him think that it was about him. And but the thing that he doesn't get credit for is, and he does, but not enough. Right now, as real estate being as important as it is, and everybody becoming more conscious and aware, y'all know there's no gentrification, right? And I don't mean I'm saying the word, right? There's really no the history behind it, right? The observing, following the money, and the real estate and following the money, how it goes from, if you looked at New York, from one borough to the next borough. You don't have that. You don't have urban studies without Du Bois. That's what his brilliance is. And then King, Martin Luther King does his dissertation, and it's called the Urban Renewal. So we give King credit for, in my eyes, sometimes for things that is not as impactful as we think. It's a great talking point. But his work that he done, on the urban renewal, and him being one of the first PhD candidates coming in the urban studies program that Du Bois created, that was what's amazing about it. He created a whole program that's still in existence. You want to get into real estate and development, you want to understand urban economics, you have to take them courses, right? You have to take the courses. So, and or don't. But but the thing is, the people that I've spoke to that have that foundation and they understand that, they're light years ahead of the real estate game. Because they understand that the wealth and it's cyclical. That's all it is. And what he done is he showed that, okay, whatever part of New York that was minority,
minority,
right?
Right.
And so what they done is they came over and they brought, and I'm saying, real estate investors, city government, county government, whatnot. They identified, in the mayors, they identified transplant students. Sounds like what's going on now, right? Transplants and college students, and said, hey, why don't y'all move over here? It's the property value is cheap. So you had a whole bunch of, college kids and just recently graduated graduate students, and they moved to this particular borough and they buy up the property. So the property value goes up. Then they go to another borough and another. In 22 years, they went to another borough. That's how gentrification is done. Nashville, we know it, right? Nashville was done exactly the same way. If transplants come here, nobody would buy the property next to three trap houses on the street. But if you don't know no better, because you're not from there, you have no idea. Right. So you bought the house and you got the shoestrings. Yep. Right. And you're like, that's the crack house right there, right? You're like, if that's what they're doing, you're like, are you for real? How much you paid? $450,000 for that house? Are you serious? So this is the thing. It ain't just the minorities or the poor people, because they do this even in the small towns where it's majority white. They do this there too. It's coming. It's coming. I live in one of the towns. It's coming. We see the signs already. But the thing is some of the most, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Take the people that are taking advantage the most, right? Is the young, white, hip, urban person that didn't know any better.
Hipsters.
Oh wow.
That's who they took advantage of. And because that house ain't worth $450,000. Right. So we could talk about that part, because what I am and what I do is I'm a retail dealer of manufactured housing. And I could walk into that house and I could walk into a new, brand new state-of-the-art 2019, 2020, 2021 built manufactured house that is a prefab modular or a modular, and 2x4s, 2x6s, granite, hardwood, dual showers. I mean, amazing. Look like it's in Franklin. Look like it's in downtown. Has the exact same amenities, but it's $180,000.
What? From 450 to 180?
And you can put it anywhere you want to put it.
And this is what I'm saying.
They've been taking advantage of. They don't know it. But and the thing is, you couldn't get anybody from Nashville. You couldn't even get the Nashville Belmont students that are from Nashville to buy them homes, right? It's 450 because their parents are like, I ain't giving you no down payment for the house. You doing crazy? You can buy this house over here. It's 3,000 square feet, and you can buy it for 220 or 179. Why we're not doing that? So you had to go find somebody from California where that price is of a home just $700,000-$800,000.
Right, New York too.
You got New York, Chicago, Boston. You had to go where they've already maxed out, and you know what I'm saying, and then bring them here. So now we got the urban renewal, we got gentrification, and then they did bring redlining back. I don't care what nobody said.
And that's what I want to go into. And that's what I want you to talk about, Tom, with the whole redlining, like not a long history, but like a brief history, because it's still happening. People don't think when people say redlining in reference of discrimination of housing areas, especially like in Nashville and places like New York, they think it's like past tense. But like, I'll give you one quick story. I was taking a real estate class in New York, in Harlem, and the brother was telling us that because the whole thing going around New York right now, and when I got there was that, oh, you could have bought this brownstone for $1. You could have bought this brownstone for $1. But black folks didn't do that. Cowdy, we can't hear you.
I'm on live. I'm interested.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the thing that people are saying. You could have bought this brownstone for $1. But what people don't realize is that like black folk, they think that black folks didn't try. It's not that black folks didn't try because Harlem got money. It's the fact that the banks wouldn't give them the loans. They like, nah, we're not giving you the loans. We don't want to let you buy up all this property, because they would have bought it up. They would have definitely bought it up. And that was a realization for me to say, oh, not only do they just maybe give higher loan rates, but they also just straight out deny completely. So talk about that, man.
Yeah, well, some of it is just, to be perfectly honest, because we're going through a situation right now. We're in the middle of a deal, like right in the middle of a deal. And I got someone, I'll leave him remain nameless, but basically, he just told me that my client needs to put 35% down.
What?
And he said the bank said it.
35%?
So
his client needs to put 35%.
Give the average, brother.
35% down.
Give the average, man, because I know what that means.
They own the property, right? They own the land, and there's several programs. And this is manufactured housing as well for rental property. So it's a slam dunk. He's just being greedy, and he's going to lie on the bank. So when we go to another bank, and that leads into something else. I hope that the sister is listening right now. But I have a sister that offered me a position, and so what we're going to be doing is doing in-house banking, right? In-house financing, to provide, and we partnered with a couple unsecured, unsecured financing, but also other types of financing as well to just do it in-house. The only thing is that we hadn't got the sign off and approval in time. So me thinking for the best for the client, I just went ahead and had him go through this particular avenue. And now the guy's coming back and he's being greedy and everything. But he thinks, I don't know. It's crazy. But
real quick, let me suggest.
Yeah,
I have a young brother on the line who you met, Kyle. His name is Mo. Remember Mo that we interviewed?
I definitely remember Mo.
Mo says that people don't know or have knowledge about what they can do, like a FHA loan for the first-time homers, and by law, that's only 3% down.
Absolutely.
Right, because I want you to break that down, Tommy. You said 35%, but some of the viewers don't know what's the going rate, the basic going rate. That's crazy.
3.5%. 3.5%, man. And right now, manufactured housing. Look, USDA and the rural stuff right now is a lick. I want to tell you, the CARES Act has a huge, it's billions of dollars that can't go through right now because of the CARES Act. So you got all these foreclosures. So every year we have about anywhere between 15 to 22, 23, 24 million foreclosures that process. And people that have capital or just good credit and good standing, and they can pounce on the deals pretty fast, they buy foreclosed homes. Okay, real estate investors eat this way. Okay, so we have 22 million foreclosures left over from 2019 going into 2020 that were not processed. Okay, so the number that I'm hearing is that we're close to 100 million foreclosures.
What?
They haven't been processed. So I understand where President Trump may not have processed them because he didn't want to put anybody out on the street. Right? It's an election. Even if you put 22 million people out on the street during the pandemic, they're not voting for you. Right? So it was smart. So he puts it back. So they put it back. It was the right thing to do. But as soon as the new, regime takes over, you got to let the chips fall where they may, because this is a huge amount of money. So for everybody that's going like, oh, there was a housing bubble, and this is in addition to the other housing bubbles that we had. This is, I don't know what this is. So Biden did, I guess, the strategy or the thinking is he didn't want to let all of those different foreclosures go through within his first 90 days, because then that looks bad. But he has to let it go. He has to let them through. He has to let this change hands, unless they're going to say, mortgage company, we're going to send it, because you can't give if the people owe a year of mortgage payments, you don't give the money to them, send the money to the mortgage company.
Right.
You give it to them, they ain't paying it. I'm telling you, everybody's not going to pay it. Right?
Whoa, hold on, say that again?
Mortgage bailout in order to save them people, or they get let the chips fall where they may. This is where we are right now.
A mortgage bailout.
It's either do that or let the chips fall where they may.
And that means a whole bunch of people getting convicted and kicked out.
Absolutely.
On the street, homeless.
Absolutely. And for everybody that got them Bitcoins, y'all better find a way to use them Bitcoins to buy their real estate, because you ain't gonna never get a chance to buy real estate like this again. It's gonna be another long time. I'm on it. I like crypto. You better cash some of them Bitcoins in. You better cash some in and buy some of this real estate. Look, 12th Avenue South, Nashville, right? The average house is easily $400,000. There's 300 foreclosures. And this was probably 4 months ago when I looked at this list.
And tell me
foreclosures on 12th Avenue, just in Nashville.
And Tommy, could you let the viewers know, because for some people who are listening who are not from Nashville, like where that is in location? I know where that's at.
So
downtown, or
so it's close to Belmont, it's close to Vandy, right? Okay,
Vanderbilt University.
And for anybody from Nashville that's listening to this, y'all know it was pretty much like a 60-40 ratio of black to white. We was 60% black, maybe 40% white. We had the city council for years. You're looking at families Mostly, if you're from Nashville and you're Black, most of your grandmas and grandpas and stuff was from South Nashville, right? That's just how it was. And so you had the two, your two parent households. You had two incomes, and these are a lot of historic homes, walkability to your grocery stores, to the shopping districts and everything. It was perfect. Now, mostly everybody's gone. My grandmother's house is for sale. I think she's one of the last ones I know. And everybody's now. This is the thing. Now, this is a good thing, right? The people that sold, a lot of the people that sold, including my parents, sold. They got good money for it. They got good value.
But hold on, Tom.
Go ahead.
They got good money and they got good value, but remember the key part is real estate, owning real estate. So did they, for the most part that you're aware of, did they take that money that they got good value from selling their house and did they invest it in more real estate?
Most of them did. Because so if Big Mama had the house and she passed, and Big Daddy had and they passed, because so not only are you talking about like the Big Mama and Big Daddy, right? But some of the people are either professionals or your hard every day went to work and worked for 30, 40 years and retired from whatever city job or state job, but the houses had been paid off.
Yep.
And so when they passed, the house was paid off and it went to the kids. The kids might have sold it. The kids went and bought real estate somewhere. Now, the thing is even early on, a lot of them didn't buy back in the neighborhood. And I always thought that was weird. The neighborhood went white real quick. And we always knew what we had. And then you started to hear stuff like they went to the bank and the bank qualified them to buy a brand new house. You could have it built 45 minutes away outside of the city. So people weren't really getting qualified. And I didn't understand, and I still kind of don't understand it, but it happened because it was so many people. So you went to Laverne or Madison or Antioch.
Which are outside the city of Nashville.
Where we from, we don't claim Antioch as being South Nashville. It's bars. So a lot of us before go to Antioch, we were like, dude, for real.
It's not in the city. It's not in the city. Antioch, Laverne, we know that's not in the city Nashville. You know what I'm saying? Just like in places like Chicago, we know that, Highland Park and Riverdale, those are not inner city Chicago. Dawson,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? New York, White Plains, Yonkers, whatever, those aren't inner city New York.
So I have a question real quick. So I have my young brother, he's asking questions again. So he's bringing up I don't know if Thomas, if you're aware of this, but the Buffalo area is shooting up prices like crazy from $100,000 a year to $200,000 a year. Like, is that kind of what we're talking about here? So when they sell their house in that neighborhood, like your pops and your grandpa can give it to their children, and the banks are allowing them to buy to invest in new houses, like freshly built houses, but 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away. Is that
outside of the city?
Outside the city.
Commute. So the takeover to inner city, Common had a couple verses on some albums throughout his career, and he kind of talks about it. It was like, they're taking over the inner city because that's where the business is done, right? And he's right. But this is the thing. America has a drug problem. And America has a drug problem mostly. See, we from the city, so we don't see these rural areas. America's biggest drug problem is the rural areas. The rural areas where an HR director can tell you, man, I'm hard pressed to find somebody that after they get 2 or 3 checks, come back to work. Drugs is that bad in the outskirts, in the rural areas. I'm not talking about Laverne, further out.
So what do you mean by? So what do you mean by 2 or 3 checks and then they have to come? What do you mean by that?
They drug bending. They bending on drugs and then they might not come back to work.
Like you talking like meth and whatnot, like meth.
Hard drugs, meth, heroin. It's hard.
So if they're closer into the city, that's more of an incentive for them to come back to work? Is that what's
no? So what I'm saying is the opportunity is get out of the city because it's too hot for you anyway, right? So if you're building your credit, point blank, Nashville's vacant lots are about 125 grand.
vacant lots?
Not even playing, bro. We serious. 125,000 is basically what a vacant lot costs you. Not a commercial lot, a residential lot, and it can be little.
100,000 on that.
100,000. There's something even more than that. 250,000, 300,000. We've heard some crazy stuff. And then the material cost to build a home is ridiculous. So who's making good money right now? The economy is being stimulated because people in the construction business they're making money. They're staying with work. They're making money. But Home Depot is making a killing.
Yeah.
Lowe's is making a killing. The lumber manufacturers are making a killing. The price of nails, look, if y'all just look at the price and just the basic stuff, all of this stuff is extremely, I got people telling me, you telling too much.
No, keep going, brother.
Everything is really expensive right now.
No, but Tommy, speak on this real quick, because we talked about this the other day. How the effect of COVID, we talked about the materials, right? Not just the manufacturing, but like the materials, man, being
so it was partly COVID because when you're doing warehouse, I mean, if you're doing, well, first of all, when COVID shut down, when COVID shut everything down, and people can't go into the warehouses, right, because of social distancing, that hurts. That puts people behind. So if you're a lumber yard or you're a lumber mill, and you got people that, you know, he has this line and 6 feet got this line, and then you have these people come down with COVID. Eventually, they got to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's a shortage of lumber because people couldn't work. Excuse me, guys. Hold on 1 second. But people couldn't work. So this was all across the country. And really across the world, because everybody kind of shut down, you know, for a month or something like that, you know. So a lot of those businesses could not work. So anybody that was in the manufacturing industries making anything are really, really, really behind.
Manufacturing, okay.
They still got cars. I guarantee there's still 2019 cars that are brand new that they still trying to get rid of, y'all.
2019, we're in 2021.
2020, I know 2020s.
No 2020.
In
the 2020.
Yeah, I'm serious. In the auto industry right now, they have enough those computer chips, right? So they can't keep making cars. They're back on the computer chips because there's tech, and where does that come from? Comes from China.
Yeah.
So we put the embargo on China. If you didn't already have what you needed from China, and they put the embargo on them, you was messed up.
Son of a but it's too much, man. There's so much information right now in this time frame. So I'm sorry. Yeah, what you about to say, Kyle?
The thing is, like, this affects everything. So how are we not going to have a collapse? How are we not going to have another major recession? It's going to happen. Absolutely going to happen. You sort of put a Band-Aid on, on the pig. I mean, eventually, it's going to happen.
Right. So Tommy, okay, so I gotta.
Like everybody in media all know that it's going to happen, and they're just trying to keep everybody calm. They're like, no, everything's going good. The housing market is good. The housing market is going up because there's not enough inventory because you got 100 million homes that ain't being sold normally that would have been sold, right? So now you have a shortage in product. So now the price can go up. It's a seller's market. Let 100 million homes hit the market and watch how it turns into a buyer's market, just like that. Get your credit ready. Get your credit ready. And like I said, I'm gonna give a shout out real quick to somebody who contacted me, and she got a great opportunity. Maha Salem, Chief Maha. Hope you listening. I sent you the link. And but she is a person that got me into the private lending business. So now we can kind of do that. Now, And so that's what people don't want to do, fix and flips. So that this particular opportunity is unsecured funded, unsecured funds. So we couldn't do a 30-year mortgage with this, but we can do 30-year mortgages with other partners that we partnered with. So, but if you need to fix and flip, no, I'll send the qualifications and the criteria and everything. You guys can post that as a resource, and we'll find some kind of affiliated, thing to be able to do that when people go through and go ahead. And this is how we're telling people: if you're a business owner, if you're in a real estate business, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're trying to do, if you have a 660 credit score or better, and when we show the qualifications and everything, if you guys can qualify, go ahead and get pre-qualified, and then figure out what you're going to put your money. I mean, what you're going to invest. You get what I'm saying? Get pre-qualified. Now, one of the things that one reason why we lack in the flipping business, in the buy and hold, and the real estate investment, because we don't know how to actually put together a really good, and we don't know the numbers, but we don't put together the proposals for the companies. We don't put the proposals really good. Damn. So we just, I've seen people, and I'm like, dude, you got to paint a picture for them, right? You got to tell them, this is what I'm gonna do with the property, and these are the numbers, right? Now, how many times have you guys taken a real estate course, and the only thing they don't talk about is the most important thing is the numbers? They ain't teaching y'all the numbers.
Right, the numbers is the most important.
It's the only thing that's important.
That's the most important.
Look at, I don't care where it at. So right now, me and
numbers.
One of our business partners, he buys property for us and for himself and for his family, owner finance, right? And because he buys it, the way he buys it, it doesn't matter. I mean, he doesn't give people crazy money, but it kind of doesn't matter how he buys it, because he buys it intelligently, but he also doesn't have a mortgage, right? We call it a mortgage, but it's not a mortgage. We pay, the homeowner because it's owner finances. So KAYODE, so if you own a duplex in Memphis, this is a great example. So if you own a duplex in Memphis, and say you got 20 or 30 of them, you're like, man, I'm trying to cash some of these in, need some cash flow in, so you want to sell it. So, and say you want 120 for it, we're like, can't do it. You can. We're like, man, we want to do it, but we can't do it. We don't really have the credit to finance to do 120. So you're like, man. So we go, James, don't kill me for saying it.
It's okay, James. It's okay.
We'll give you 140 for it. And you scratch your head going, if you can't afford 125, why would you give me 140? Because we're going to give you 140 with our terms and conditions and pay you directly. So we're going to just start paying your note. You get what I'm saying? And so with terms 30 years, 15 years, 25, so it looks the same. But you get in mailbox money, you're still getting it. And then so now what we do is, since that property is ours, because you're going to sign it over to us, and the contract is binding, and if we mess up, we almost like basically default on what we've invested. So we have every incentive not to miss payments. Right. Like a mortgage would be. Only thing, we're not doing amortized, we don't like mortgages over here. Feel me? We don't like mortgages. Okay. I don't want to amortize, product with compound interest, and I'm a front loaded interest. I'm gonna pay that. I don't want to pay all that money. I want to pay whatever interest rate or whatever number you come up with. I'm gonna pay you that. Right. But so go ahead. You got a question? Real quick.
You have some comments being posted here by Ms. Chong Young. She has a series of 3 questions, and she says, "Do you have land?" Then she says, "So can we purchase the homes and land?" And then she asks, "Do you have land in Charlotte?"
In Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yes.
No, not at this time. But we're actually working on getting our licenses there, because we had somebody drive through North Carolina, several parts of North Carolina, and it's really, really, really big in manufactured housing. So we definitely want to get a license. So our thing is just get licenses in states, every state that touches Tennessee. Right? So, but we do have land, and you definitely, you can go to our Instagram, you can go to our Facebook page, and you can see right now we have land in West Tennessee, and we have lots. More specifically, we have lots, and $500 down, $375 a month, or $5,000 up front. So you can do that $375 a month for 12 months, and that's a total of $5,000. And but the thing is, the catch to it, if this is considered a catch, you have to purchase a manufactured home from us. So in this particular case, excuse me, it would be a modular home. So inside the city limits of most major cities, mobile homes aren't allowed unless you own the mobile home community and you already own it because they're grandfathered in, and they're gonna get rid of one and replace it. They can buy, right? But you can't put a mobile home, right, up on blocks, right, on steel blocks. You can't put them in like Chicago, in Nashville, in Memphis, right? You can in some places in like Clarksville. You familiar with Clarksville? You can put them in some places. You just got to check with the county. But modular homes can pretty much go everywhere, right? And right now you can use a FHA loan to purchase the lot, or you buy the lot from us. Well, I tell you what, they won't give you the lot. They won't let you buy the lot with it. So if you already own the lot, then you can have a house built. We're considered our prefab modules. The modules are considered, legitimate homes. So you can use the FHA 203K loan, and that will allow you to have a house built. Now, so that's what I'm saying. So with our program, if you buy the lot from us, then we will sell you a duplex modular, and this is where you can get into house hacking and renting and everything like that. Because to be perfectly honest, a lot of people say, why did you guys get it? Why do you care who you sell a house to? And I say, well, I mean, you got to think, you teach a man how to fish, right? We have an affordable housing crisis in America, really in the world, right? Affordable housing is really everywhere. It's a problem. But right here in America, and specifically in these places where there's opportunity zones, where there's blight, and quote unquote urban areas, there's government programs that our people don't tap into and know that they're there. And some young millennials that are hip to it come in with not even using their money, using government programs, come in and buy your whole neighborhood up and Airbnb it out, right? So that's what we do. So we tapped into the programs and say, look, you can use a first-time home buyer, you can use FHA, use the NACA program. Hell, the NACA program is one of the best programs I've seen. The only thing is you can't already own an existing home and go through the NACA program. So the NACA program is it's a market rate interest rate, no closing costs, no money down, no mortgage insurance, which you're gonna have mortgage insurance with an FHA. And I heard it's kind of expensive depending on certain areas and who you are.
City,
but at least if you're just getting started with FHA, you can still use that, and you can buy a lot and then have a house built on it, right? So, but the NACA program is really good. I got some things coming out about the NACA program. I got a course on house hacking, and it kind of talks about some different programs and everything you can do.
Right. And Tom, you really go in on that too. Because I got a piece of that. You really go in on programs.
Hold on, John Young says, let's chat. And she says, wow. So the information was like, wow. So good job, brother. Good job. Sorry, Cal.
No, Tommy's breaking it down. But Tommy, real quick, because I know you're in the stream, but like in reference of like these loan programs, right? You're breaking down certain differences, but like how does one begin to even find out about those programs? Because sometimes we know that stuff out there exists, but it's so much at one time. It's like, how do I even start that process? How do I even get to know it? get in those circles.
It's messed up right now. I think we got a lot of people like myself, and I listen to a lot of different podcasts and real estate people. And the sad thing is that they're really the ones that's really spreading the gospel on real estate opportunities and stuff like that, and really tell you the programs and how to get in and get into it. It's us, because I've spent and Brother Riley knows, Brother Mergeron knows, LaQuintus knows, these brothers know that we just spent good, hard-earned money on programs, and they ain't mention how to break down the numbers, and they didn't tell us about no programs. And I know for a fact they was using programs. After I thought about it, like, oh, he did this, then he did this. Oh man, he used the program. You know what's the saddest thing about Nashville? It was tax liens. It was tax lien, tax deed hybrid, because Tennessee is a hybrid state. So people that if you guys are not familiar with tax lien and deeds,
tax lien, yes, break it down.
Are property tax foreclosure. So most people don't understand that the veil behind the curtain is that the government does not care about you paying your mortgage. It can't. It's new. The government cares about you paying property taxes, because that's how they get paid, right? And that's how things stay afloat. So when the sheriff or the sheriff come and knock on your doors because you behind on your property taxes, not because you didn't pay Bank of America, they don't care about Bank of America, right? That's not how it works. You didn't pay your property tax, so the oldest form, put it like this: buying homes at auction for delinquent property tax foreclosure is way older than mortgages, way older. And every county has it. Every county has it. So you have some states that are tax liens, meaning that you can go and bid on the property. There's an auction, and you go and bid on the property, and some depending on what the county is or the state, they have an interest rate that you get if the person pays it back within a certain amount of time, called a redemption period. So if they pay it back, you get your principal back plus 9%. Now it might be a year, it might be 9 months, depending on what So like for example, state of Tennessee is 12 months, and it's 12 months, and it's 10%. So you get a dime back on your return if the people pay back the principal. You got to pay back the 10% and fines and penalties. And once you bid on that property and get it, you get a certificate of lien. You're the first position. You can now go and draw money on this property. You can rent it out. You can live on it. You just can't sell it for that 12 months, because you have to give them the redemption period to be able to get it back.
Yeah.
So this the thing. You can make reasonable upgrades to the property. So if it need a roof, you can put a roof on it. Now they pay you back for the roof.
Yep.
So
Sean Young is saying D sales.
So if they pay all that back, they got to make you whole, and then they got to pay, and they pay, and it's all through the county. So this is government. It's not like they actually do business with you. You go to the county, county court, just opt the blocks, or you go online, because a lot of them right now, everything is online.
Yeah.
And I said, man, people gonna get you. But then people gonna be getting money and picking up these tax liens and deeds, picking up property that way. Then so I called some couple counties, and they said we had a couple auctions, we sold some, and we got cease and desist.
What?
Yeah, because it's foreclosure. It's a form of foreclosure.
Yep.
Right. So they couldn't do that. So they had to kind of hold. They had a hold on that. So the only ones they can really get rid of were the ones where the people have already abandoned the property. And if people abandon the property, and most of the time, just be perfectly honest, so to just be clear on this, by the time it goes to the auction, most people don't live in it, right?
Okay.
It just depends on where, right?
Okay.
And so so in a deed state, say Wayne County, Detroit, that's considered deed. When you go to the auction, you buy it, you ain't gotta work, you good. You bought it. You got to make sure it doesn't have any liens on it, anything like that. You know, other people have put liens on it or something because you have to pay those liens to get the property free and clear. But there is no redemption period, and then you got to pay the money, you know, and you get an interest rate. Or like Maricopa County, Phoenix, I think it's 20%. And it's 12 months. Think about it. If you are in a tax bracket and you need to hide $200,000 because you don't want to pay that in to Uncle Sam,
yeah,
go to Maricopa County and you do it online, and you invest in something you don't even want the house. You don't even want the house. You want the 20%.
So you just
all day long.
So you just invested in that foreclosed the 20, and that's how you shield yourself from having.
Absolutely. And for everybody, you know, so we're gonna put together. Kyle knows we've been talking about it. We're gonna put together a course on. I already have the course. I've already taught it, but I want to do a tour to a county. I'm not even gonna put the county out there because it's already. It's too right. It's too right. The opportunity is amazing. It's the best county in the country to buy this stuff. Man. And it's amazing. The return, I don't even want to. The return is ridiculous. And it's crazy. I can't, because there's people that know, right. And I don't want them to be like, well, I'm gonna go over there. You know what I'm saying? But
to be real, Tommy, there's so many other opportunities, and that's not to like hold anybody out of anything, but that just shows you how much opportunity is if you have the information and the knowledge and know how to apply it. And that's the whole point. Is like having you on here and having our guest on here and us talking, because people have to realize that there's so many other opportunities out there in reference of real estate development and how you want to enter the game, into the industry, that we haven't yet even begun to like tap in, really.
Right.
You know? Like seriously.
So all right, so let me come at y'all this way, right? So for the average person, right? Because you thought there's someone that put in the chat as well that it's going to happen, meaning the collapse, right? The economic collapse.
It's going to
happen, right? So I'm sure there's people out here who are anxious and trying to figure out how they can protect themselves, how that is going to affect them. And they might not be in the financial situation, or not even just financially, but not intellectually, knowledge-wise, on how to capitalize on these opportunities that are out here. So what advice could you give them? What advice could you give them, Tommy, on how to go about, like we hear about savings, right? Make sure you put amount of savings. So from the average person right now who probably doesn't have a lot of savings in place, what advice can you give them so that way they can shield themselves as best as possible against this collapse or whatever's going on there? What advice?
Know what your credit is, and just know where it is, and get pre-approved, and that'll let you know what you can buy right now. I don't care. I mean, you can work on your credit, and we got programs for that. We got a program for that. You got Brother Tobias. We got a program coming out for that. It's real simple. It's very easy. Brother, him 500. If you guys are on hip to him 500 is killing. He's throwing all the game out. There's a lot of credit people mad at him because he's giving the game out for free. A lot of people that depend on the credit, for income for businesses. He's giving the game out for free right now because he said it's not getting around to us quick enough. He'll teach you how to do everything once you got your credit good and how to do everything. But right now you got government programs. You got FHA, which is a 500 to a 580 credit score, and that you can use an FHA 203K loan. So it's FHA 203K. Look that up. You guys can download, and what I'll do is give me a couple hours after this, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make my course free, right? So for the first 50 people, I'm gonna make it free. But I got a house
collecting special, right? The GRC special.
I'm gonna just put it. It'll be like, I don't know. It's posted on Gumroad, and but we'll do like Grand Rising Collective or something like that.
We'll post a link. We'll post a link on our Grand Rise Collective page.
Absolutely. And so we'll make it free for like the first 50 people who get the program for free, and it'll teach you how to, with no money, how to do it, because this is how people are doing it.
And real quick, Tommy, family, I'm paying for this course too. Even though it's a colleague of mine, he's charging, I'm paying. because he knows what he's talking about. So don't think we getting the hookup. We getting the hookup because I know him, but I'm paying my money. Whatever that course is, I'm paying my money, and he's not giving it back to me. I'm paying this brother because we have to begin to invest in ourselves, people who really know and really are doing the work. So just as he's putting it up there, even though I could get it for free, I'm paying for it. I'm telling y'all, I'm paying for it, and I'm expressing that because there was times when I couldn't pay for it. Mm-hmm. So now that I can, I am. You know what I'm saying? You got to put back in. You got to put back in. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Tom, I didn't say that. Yeah.
So, you know, it's different ways. So I would say the easiest way to get into the real estate game is I feel like what we're trying to do is make it as simple as possible. Mm-hmm. So if you buy the lot from us, so we have a Lions Den membership, and we have the Lions Den capital fund will be to help provide funding. If you qualify, we're going to be doing that. And also it'll go along with the podcast. So we're going to hold your hand through this process, but you got to buy, you got to buy the lot, or the membership is like $59 a month. Mm-hmm. But if you buy the lot, you get the free membership. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a Facebook group, all of that, and we'll talk to you. You're going to hold your hand through this whole process. I don't care really where you are. You know, you can have a 400. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So we got the credit. We got the credit course to help you. So we can remove, you know, items from your credit that are not supposed to be there, right? Not supposed. But everybody you need to go on there. You need to know what's on your credit. Mm-hmm. If you ran a credit for a car, and say you had 12 companies that ran your credit, and one company gave you a car, then 11 inquiries need to be removed. They didn't give you a car. You didn't get nothing, right? So they got to be removed. And you're looking at 10 or 30 point increase in your credit right there. Every time it's taken off. There you go. Right? So
10 to 30 points. And how long?
It's they're supposed to be removed within 24 to 48 hours. But we're gonna pick on the phone. We're gonna pick up the phone and call them, right? And this is not like my brain trust. Him 500 has done it. You guys can look him up. He's done it. His program is amazing. I can't wait to go through it. But I've heard the tremendous results. The brother's doing stuff with Rick Ross, and I mean he's doing some fabulous things. And but the point is, come over here. We're gonna incubate you. You know, we're going to help you. We're going to teach you. And we're going to make you'll be able to be the person in your family that's going to be able to take it back to other people in your family and be able to, you know, do this breaks kind of thing, like an in-house banking kind of thing. And then we can, you know, then you'll get the trust and all of that, and you'll start, you know, pulling equity out of your property, and you can go and buy more property with it. You know, so there's a lot though. I mean, you can literally look just look at it from the standpoint, right? If you are getting $500 a month off of rental property, now, what people don't understand is most rental property, single families, they're really only making profit-wise, because you got to think, you got to capital expenditures you got to take out for that, put that in an account, property management. And if you manage your property, go ahead. I ain't managing no property. I'm not doing it, right? I'm just not doing it. That's not the most effective way to use your time, right? You got a job, keep the income coming in.
Right.
Identify. And this is the thing, right? So this is the real thing. We can identify unrestricted land in 12 acres, 30 acres, 40 acres, subdivide it, and you can put mobile homes on it. People need homes. Man, look, 25% of every first home in America, is a manufactured home. But if you live in a city and in the urban area, you're like, where the mobile homes at?
Right.
What are you talking about? I don't know anybody living in mobile homes. Guess what?
Not New York.
15% of Black people live in manufactured housing. Warren owns the two number one finance companies that finance mobile homes. He owns Clayton Homes, which is a manufacturer. What Nipsey Hussle say? He vertically integrated. And he owns the retail. And now they kind of do some things in development. He's vertically integrated. I looked at Warren Buffett and I said, man, he doing it. He don't lose. So we're going to get it to the same thing. We're just going to provide it for our people. So saying it, so let me just say this little part right here. If you have a person that say they work in fast food and they're making $14 an hour and they're working as much overtime as possible, and their credit is a 500 right now because they really don't have any credit, it's not as hard for that person to get up, right? So we get 20, 30, 40 acres on our end. We subdivide the lots. Now we do the $500 down and the $375, right? He owns the lot. He buys he finances a 20, because say he goes get qualified, get pre-qualified, they pre-qualify for 50,000. You're like, man, you get 50,000. Okay, cool. Don't go spend all 50. If I got a house for you for 20,000, 30,000, go ahead and get it. Put a renter in it. What do you think your note is on 20,000? Like $130 a month. Now you charge now, but rent it'll be 600, 700. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So after you take all of them numbers, property management and the capital expenditures, maintenance, and all of that, he's at least cash flowing $400. He got $400 coming in. At the end of the year, that's $4,000. Now he's working on his credit, right? Because he's a part of the program. So he's working on his credit. Now, within 6 months, his credit has shot up at least probably 100 points, right? So he pulls out he pulls out any equity he has, and he can put it in something else that's going to make a little bit more money. But remember, he was already qualified for 50,000. He bought something for 20. He still got 30,000. He good for it. He get him
yeah, man.
What it is.
Right now,
yo, slow, yo.
This is a lot.
Yo, I told you. Yo,
right. So, Tommy, we're at the top of the hour. So, do you mind if we extend this for another 20 minutes? Because you dropping some food. You got okay, good. All right, so that's one. The second thing is, oh man, this guy's Kyle, he's dropping a lot. Question: what one of the things the community is challenged with is financial management. So someone might get that loan for 50,000, right? Don't know how to manage their money.
Well, it's not a loan. That's a pre-qualified to buy a house, right? You go into a bank, and then you're trying to get pre-qualified, to buy a house. Right. So that's the credit. So that's not a line of credit. That's not nothing like that. Not yet. Not got to that point yet.
All right. So they can't. So that has to be specifically given to that particular vehicle investment. They can't spend. Absolutely. Okay, so
that's just you. That's just like if you're going to buy, your house right now, and you go to the bank, and then you say, "Hey, I want to buy a house," and they go, "Okay, we got to run your credit, see what you, and look at you, and put up a credit profile and see what you can buy." So they say, "Okay, you qualify for $250,000." Let me tell you what everybody's problem is. They go buy a house for $240,000. But go to some of these cities, you go to Detroit. In finance, you could have got 5 houses for
that much. That's what I was about to say. You get 5 houses, 2 stories.
Rent is $900. Rent is $1,000. Rent is $1,200.
You can rack, man.
And go south, right? I love Detroit, but they got some high property taxes, and there's some barriers there. Now we'll bring on a brother that we're gonna do some business with that has mastered Detroit. He buys city blocks. Good brother. We'll got to bring him on, link him up. He'll show you how to do that, right? Yeah. He's a developer and everything. He's good. His people from up there and everything, so they understand it and they're actually then doing it. So they made the mistakes and everything. But my thing is a lot of people are like, oh man, if I can't manage myself or if I can't see it, well, this is the thing. They got great property management companies all over the country. So you just gotta do what everybody do. You can't control everything. Buy the property, let the property management company do it, and that's what you're paying them for. And then the rest of the money is yours. So the money you're gonna put for capital expenditures. People don't understand what capital expenditures are.
Yeah, break that down. I was gonna say, break that down.
Are the large items that your house might incur, damage to, like the roof or structural damage or something like that. These are things that hotels do. These are things that large multifamily properties, 100 units, 20 units, they do. Why are we not doing it like this on 1 or 2 metropolis? So I ran my numbers like it's 100 units. That way, when I come to my portfolio, the bank goes, oh yeah, he already got CapEx over. He ready. We know what he wants to do. He's gonna get this duplex, and in a year, I want another duplex. I want another one. But see, my thing is you get qualified for 250. I'm gonna go and buy every lot. Right? Every lot. We're gonna owner finance, like you said, owner finance 50 acres. So, man, I told you about I told you we walked this property. We were on the way to Memphis to look at some land. And we found out some land in Waverly, Tennessee. It's like an hour away from Nashville, right? 88 acres, 130,000, and he was willing to owner finance it. We walked this property. I'm like, off that without doing anything, no dozers, no cleaning, no development or nothing. We could put 50 mobile homes on it right now. I was like, let's go. Let's go. It rained the day before, so you knew where it was flooded. It wasn't going to flood it. We knew we could put 50 houses on this thing right now. Let's go. But what it did, it's excited. Everybody was like, oh, man, did you see that? You see how close we put them to $1.7 million? Something like that it is. $0.7 million. And you're looking at $250,000 of residual income off of that because you own that, and you either got a lot fee that you get from it, you know, or you get it rent from it.
Damn. Oh man, yo, listen, you gotta go him 500. You gotta check out my brother Tommy. You gotta get this, yo. All right, come on.
Yo, family.
Just pivot a bit, right, and get to the rest of these questions you got asked. Full scope of some stuff. Tommy, thank you so much, man. Just keep that information ready, at the ready. Why does Tulsa keep coming up in conversation for Black excellence wealth? Because what you're talking about right now, yes, for example, the inner cities, the community gets their head on right. They know, they have an idea of how valuable real estate is, all that nature. So what if we all come together,
man,
we all buy up blocks like in Detroit and everything like that, we put it together, and then boom, all of a sudden we have another Tulsa taking place. Like, so the question is, why does Tulsa keep coming up in conversation for Black excellence and wealth?
Oh man, all right, so
I know I had to flip it. I had to.
Yeah, you had to go historical.
So our team, we're invested in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, but you're talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, the Black Wall Street, 1921.
Yeah, so you're saying the fear of it being burned down, right?
Right.
Why should we do all this? Come together, make our own community, all that, and then the government can come, boom.
But this is what people gotta understand. Technically, the government didn't do it. They commissioned private citizens to do it. But we're too intelligent. Everybody got insurance now, right? Burn it down. Burn it down. Somebody gonna pay out that $10 million policy. See what I'm saying? Somebody gonna pay it. This ain't 1921 no more. You feel what I'm saying? This ain't 19. This is 2020. They paying up, right? So it's not going to happen in the same way. It will be different, right? And they're trying to slow down the progress, but you can't stop it. You can't stop it. This is not even just optimism, man. It's a lot of barriers in the way. That's why you got to kind of keep some of the stuff quiet. We can't tell everything we're doing. You got to keep the stuff quiet, and you got to have a good solid group. You don't have to. I can look at the Karma, family, or the people that will be learning from us. I can look at them as like family, but I can't tell them my every move until it's done. And we know that we got it bonded up, and we know we got it in a trust. we know that, you know, other people, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're going to pay out,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people I know have the insurance. They sold insurance. So I went through that knowledge. I understand insurance. So get the insurance is good. Burn it down, please. That's why we pay the bills.
Right, so I pay insurance. So damn. So Tommy, so in reference, real quick, is interject. So like when you talk about like paying insurance, you know, again, it's not 1921 anymore. But like how are we as a community, as individuals, how are we able to like not only go through that process, but then pass on that process and those assets to our, you know, our children, other family members, because sometimes we get it, but then sometimes they don't get the full scope of things. So like how we protect those, like selling it or keeping it as a residual income.
Do it as a land trust. Do it as a land trust, and they can't sell it. There you go. You say you can, as long as it's rental property, you can make money off of it. You can live in it, whatever, but you can't get rid of it. It's going to be in this family, or it's going to be in this trust, right? In the community, you get the community first dibs at doing it, and you define who the community is, not a location. Who, right? A trust is one of the most fabulous documents that we need to take advantage of. A trust document. We need to understand how it works, right? Ain't nobody trying to give away, you know, like Prince and, you know, a lot of these entertainers. Man, they're giving back all this money. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely, it's showing a lot of things, right? It's showing a lot of things. We know that America's public, you know, not public, but public and private, you know, institutions don't really teach about finance and everything and the way it needs to, because if it did, then people couldn't take it, you know, the wolves couldn't sit back and take advantage. But you have to become, it's just a foundational, basic understanding of these things. It's just basic. So we make sure our kids know these things, make sure our kids know how to build a small business, and just understand the fundamentals of of finance, just the fundamentals. They don't have to be a finance major, but we also need, I would say this, we need a million man, a million woman finance degree march, right? Campaign, right? We need a million of our Black kids to come out the next, 8 years having degrees in finance and go into the financial sector, right? Because that'll do it alone. That'll do it alone. Right? Now, gradual thing. It's just repetition.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Tommy, because we talked about this as well. Not only like we talk about brain drain, right? We go into these institutions, right? Whether they be HBCUs, hopefully, or whether they be, historically white colleges or universities. We go into these institutions, we get the degree, but then we go outside of the community, or we're miseducated, as Dr. Carter G. Woodson would say, we miseducated, and then we don't use that to benefit us. So how are we able to extract that information for it to benefit us? Because remember, we also talked about, and this is a long-going conversation since I've been a child, trusting one another or trusting the process.
The trust is, okay, so I'm going to address the educational piece, the Carter G. Woodson part first.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people, you need to go back and read this. One of the best foundational books that I think that I understand. Right, there's no mistake why Lauryn Hill named her album "The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill." Right, it's no mistake because her parents was educators and she understood how impactful that brother was and that book was. The foundational piece of Carter G. Woodson, "The Miseducation of the Negro," saying that when you become successfully educated in this system, if there is not a back door, you will create a back door and go through it. And what that really means is not meaning that, it just means that you won't use practical knowledge anymore. You won't use your I ain't gonna say knowledge, take that back. Knowledge is something you can learn and you can know it, right? You won't use your practical intelligence anymore. And we have a lot of people that dumb as hell with 400 degrees, man. They got all the degrees in the world, have no common application sense.
Educated fools, man.
Just absolutely. That's why Kanye West can say that. It was perfect. It made perfect sense when he said it. And that's what Du Bois understood. When he got late in his day, he said, what the hell have I done?
Right, went to Ghana, went to Africa.
And he said, why isn't it working? Carter G. Woodson had already told him it wasn't going to work. That's why he didn't want him to put his book out first. Carter G. Woodson was the first PhD that came out of that school. Du Bois came out the next year. Why do you think he was fighting? He didn't want him to come out because he was saying, hey, come out with this. Carter G. Woodson was already like, brother, are you serious? You know, because if for one, Carter G. Woodson probably looking at him like, look at this dude. He has the marketing. Everybody was like, oh man, God, look at him. Look what he done 5 years after he got that power. Look at it. He done. We need to really it's not to humiliate him or to tarnish them. We have to really look at these people because we hold them up. We do not hold them accountable for their mistakes.
Right.
That palliative theory was just as damaging as crack cocaine. He messed the minds up of the people. He told them but he had the ism. He had
the ism, exactly. He did have the ism.
He had the issue. And it's like he infected. Not everybody had it anyway, but he infected everybody else with it, with the whole process on how to do it, the formula. And it took him 50 years to realize that that's how long it took.
Exactly.
Natural intelligence to kick back in his ego, for him to swallow his ego. Harvey told him immediately, and he only told him once he came after him. He said, man, your ego is a trend. Garvey then went at it for like 10 years. Right? And so they said he's the most brilliant man ever. So anything he put out in the Crisis magazine, which is the NAACP, he was the editor of the Crisis magazine, which is the publication for the NAACP. Anything he put out, once white Americans say he's the smartest man in the country, in the century, black people believe everything he said, especially about Garvey.
He's part of the elite. Exactly. He's part of the elite, that elite circle. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. One Negro at a time, you know, even up. I mean, that's been going on up even up to the 80s and 90s, you know, when you talk about the entertainment industry or political industry, you know, like, and that's one of the main things. That's one of my deepest critiques of Du Bois, out of love, because I mean, he did a lot of great things, but like Tommy is saying, I agree with you. He did set up a lot of things where it was kind of anti-Garvey. You know what I'm saying?
Records.
Yeah.
I was saying they would be like, we having a conversation, but I don't like you, right? So I'm like, Kyle, I don't believe you made them. Let me see your tax records. Then submitted a letter to Hoover and said, I think he committed fraud. He gonna show me his tax records. What did they go do? They kept going after an infraction after infraction, and they overturned them until they coerced UNIA movement members to lie on Garvey until they got him for what? Mail fraud? Man, you don't get out of here, man.
Yeah, exactly. Queen Mother Moore talks about it a little bit. Queen Mother Moore, you know, there's video on YouTube. You know, she's out in New Orleans, man. You know, like kind of mentions and goes into some of the details. But yeah, people really got to study, man. Yeah, like really study these figures.
That's the thing. But like I said, but the urban studies program, man, his and he was infected. I tell you that. But the man, meticulous mind, as a researcher and everything, and setting up processes, was brilliant.
Brilliant.
You just hate to see that he used, you know, his powers for evil.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that he was doing it as evil. It was used as evil. It was his ego.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, I don't want to get off topic or too often, but how do we as a culture get over that, Tom? Now, we're keeping the conversation in terms of real estate, economic investment, wealth building. But if we as a culture don't know or work together, it's going to undermine everything we try and do.
Absolutely.
And I know this is a general question, and I know, you know, you're one person, right? But just your take or your perspective, like what can we do or strategize, or how can we figure out how we can circumvent or try and prevent that from happening, let's say in this new wave, where we don't have someone like a Du Bois undermined us with the very powers that be who don't want to see us succeed. In this new generation that we have going on, as consumers minded as we are, as lazy as we are, I mean, what can we do as a culture to try and establish that core to prevent something like that from happening again, I guess is my question. In your opinion.
In your circle, make it normalize dealing with your trauma. Normalize dealing with our trauma. And you got to have a conversation and hold each other accountable. That's why the relationship piece that I think is really big, because we do more damage to each other competing. We competing in a relationship is the most ridiculous thing ever. I never saw my mom and dad compete in a relationship. Well, right now, because we the talented tip, and it don't matter. We dark talented tip. We all of them. We're literally doing exactly what he wanted us to do. And he didn't want us to do when he died. And that's the talented tip. All right. We were pitted against each other. Mm-hmm. They tell you the education. They say go to school, get your education. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell you to learn. I went to college. It could be probably just who I am, but I know that I was one of the most intelligent people on campus, and I didn't care that anybody else knew it or the professors knew it or nothing. Mm-hmm. I learned for the sake of learning, not for the grade. You gotta understand. You gotta get the knowledge and put pressure on these professors in these education institutions on prosecuting these grades. Mm-hmm. Upper grade. Upper grade. This is bullshit. They're killing themselves because they're not getting the grades. And then we mad because a kid killed himself over the video game. Be mad because they killed himself over the grades too. It's grades, man. Grades.
Letters.
Most of them were C students. Why? Because they knew that shit didn't matter.
Just so you know, Tommy, Katina Fletcher, she says we got to remove taught self-hate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Katina, thank you, sir, for that. You got a conversation there.
Yeah. Indeed, brother.
So I'm gonna tell you, I'm going to say this. For a lot of people who don't know, I feel like my personal intelligence, I'm just being honest. This might come off, people might not. I felt like when I learned who I was, my place in the world, my station and where I could go, what my abilities are from looking at my parents, being younger and being one of the first homeowners out of their brothers and sisters. My dad is the youngest of 9. My mom is the third youngest of 17. And they had a home and owned it before a majority of them, and they didn't finish college. My dad applied everything he learned. Right now, he's going, boy, he calling me going, I know he's going, bring me this tiller so we got these 3 acres and we need to till this acre. Bring me this tiller. I got you, Pop, I'm coming. I got to finish this. But he learned, he understands whatever he learned, he puts it in motion. Like Bruce Lee said, if only use what works, discard everything else. Most of that we learned in this school. So look, I'm gonna say this. When I said I want 1 million people to get the finance degrees, not because I want because there's some math stuff that people need to get. Mm-hmm. Right now, him 500 is a person that I don't think has a degree in finance, but he's one of the best financiers right now in the culture, and I'm dare to say probably one of the best financiers in the country right now. This brother has generated a lot of money with his mind.
Yes.
And so to that point, my intelligence and a lot of other people that I came up through college with, our intelligence came from really digging down into our history and understanding psychology and the sociology of us. I have a degree in Africana studies, so that's Black studies. And for everybody out there that understand that those are the classes you take. It's an easy A. I can tell you right now, the things you struggling with, I'm not struggling with.
Exactly.
Fletcher ain't struggling with. Jamila ain't struggling with. Jamal ain't. I know them people ain't struggling with it because they went through that. They dealt with it. It was pain. People cried in them classes, right? We have all my kids got natural hair. Why? We don't need women being 35 years old now dealing with that trauma. Deal with that trauma when you were a kid.
Right.
We can't be having these isms going on. We need you to be at your best. You can't have these isms. So you got to do. So ultimately, it's dealing with the trauma, and so that's it. Holding accountable. There's a lot of things that are not we don't really have to do a lot of new stuff. We'll reinvent the wheel.
Right. It's there.
Now, a lot of Black psychologists that we can actually go get therapy on, get therapy through. Now it's covered. Now you can see a whole lot of healing take place because people can go get it.
Yep.
So go get it. Do group sessions. Do co-ed group sessions too.
Co-ed group elder sessions.
All that stuff. And then you knowing that what she is saying, you're gonna be like, damn, I did that. And you're gonna be like, hold on, sister, that seems kind of off, right? Mm-hmm. And then the sisters that you see that don't behave like that anymore or don't at all, they have to do, and brothers got to do it. So I'm not saying sisters got to do it, but the first teachers are the sisters. So I'll always look at them first, because right now the most dominant force in America is the Black woman on this planet. But right now, from an educational and business and potential opportunity right now, that's the reason why they like, look, it's like they just realized or not just realized. Yeah, and in a way, it's almost like they just realized that, oh, I can do whatever everybody else can do. And they got the big head. I'm like, good. Now, the thing is, don't go have no babies right now. That's the only thing. Go do your career. Go do your career.
That's gonna be
and have them, but and
well, yeah, what? That's what I'm saying.
Look, I'm not even gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Women are amazing. I totally agree with that. They're more organized. They think quicker. They know how to multitask better. For everybody to say that people can't multitask, I get it. You can't.
They do that better. They do that
they're better in the office. They're better in board meetings. They're better at just general. I'm just saying general. I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying if you take 10 women and put them in a corporate environment, take 10 men, 3 of them men there because they men. them women, they the one that make the whole company flow. They do everything.
Yes, man, yo, bro. See now you.
I understand they frustrated. Like, y'all lazy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got to give it. That's what I'm saying, man. This whole men versus women, we're not gonna go. We're gonna say that for another time, family. But this whole men versus, that's why it's just straight nonsense. It's garbage. Because when you really and Tommy, you mentioned, because I was an Africana Studies major too. I was English major, Africana Studies, and that's what I'm saying. And even stuff I still dealt with going forward. But like I said, when you fully understand the cultural value of what we have. And that's what I think you're also saying too, and I want to really harp on that, is looking at society through your cultural lens and understanding where you came from and who you truly are. It sets your whole paradigm changes. Your whole how the world and how you interact with the world changes. And the sooner and the younger that we get that and our children get that,
you're gonna need college.
Thank you. That's the hack. I'll be right. And I'm an education person, but you can
call the middle school millionaire.
With your own.
Who with a middle school millionaire? He don't need no college. They need him. He don't need it. He don't need it.
Right.
He got the intelligence. All we needed was the formula. Put the formula.
Give me thank you. And let me do it over and over and over again. Give me the formula. And like I said, we don't have to recreate the wheel. The formula is already in our history. We just got to tap in. As brother 19 Key said, tap in.
Yeah. I gotta say this about Huey P. Newton.
Yeah.
Huey P. Newton didn't learn how to read. For a lot of people don't. I love Brother Huey. Huey could read into his senior year of high school. He's one of the youngest. He had big brothers that would show him his homework, and they would be like, Huey, what does this mean? So being illiterate don't mean you ain't intelligent. He done his brother homework for him for 3-4 years.
Right.
But when he learned how to read, which ain't nothing but spelling, he was already reading. He was already reading. He knew how to read. I mean illiterate. He didn't know how to read the letters and put them together, but he was already reading because he was already intelligent. So when he learned how the words go together on the page and and enunciation and all that, it was over. He learned with comic books. Come on, man.
Right, man. Exactly. Come on. That's what I'm saying.
He left this realm. He was Dr. Huey P. Newton.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So come on, man. We got that. So let's not make that the barrier of success, having the master's or the PhD or anything like. Let's stop making that the metric of success. It's not.
It's not. And I want to reiterate too. We're not saying don't go get it. We're just saying that if you're using that as your measuring stick, I think you need to reevaluate. You know what I'm saying? But again, if that's going to help you do what you're already doing, building with the community, building up your cultural awareness and adding that into the plan, great. But if you're looking at that as to kind of validate you, I think you need to reevaluate.
Yeah, because a whole lot of us, and I'm not saying me, like I know why I wasn't offered a job. I had an African studies degree, right? I had to use my mouthpiece in the interviews.
Yeah, I love education. I love learning.
In the interviews they were like, this dude isn't, man, because I didn't have the right degree, they wanted to lowball me, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have this degree, right?
Right.
So I had to go get some project management background and all of that stuff too. And then it validated me more, and I was getting my master's for, it was a quarter of a semester. We had a conversation. I think Nick and Josh, if y'all listening, Riley showed it. Nick and Josh was in my class. We had 6 people in the class. There was Brother Rico, Nick, Josh, like 2 other people in the course. And me and the professor had a conversation. And it's like nobody, it's like people were scared to like get in the conversation. We had a conversation and I kept the conversation going. And the reason why I kept the conversation going was to show them that this man knows that education was a business. It wasn't about what we knew. And he was like, I want to give you a job. I said, how much? We negotiated right there on the spot. I already made more money. He couldn't hire me. Why? But I got the best business loan because it was an educational loan.
All right.
I filled every single one of my Pell grants and loans. I filled every single one of them.
All right, so check it out. We at one final thing before I get to the final question. I just want to mention is Sean Young. Sean, I hope I mentioned your name correctly. I hope I didn't mispronounce it. He says this is why Black women need to work with Black men to build our own versus building another man's vision. So I just wanted to bring that up as far as that comment that was made on that. And then I want to get to this final question before we close it out and then leave it out to whatever final words you got to say, Tommy. We're going to do a part 2, man. We couldn't cover everything in this one, brother. I'm sorry. So what's the biggest obstacle to buying a home, Tommy? What would be the biggest obstacle to buying a home? Or
your mindset. Everything else is process. Your mindset is everything is stopping everybody because it's really easy. It's the mindset. Everybody just think they can't do it because it was for a long time. Only people that had homes were prominent people. So if you're thinking I'm not a prominent person, or I'm not a dentist, or I'm not this, I'm not that. That's what's stopping you. Everything else, you know what's hard? Some algebra equations, but filling out some paperwork and giving you a credit score to the people, and they running and they telling you what you qualify for, and you taking a quarter of what you qualify for and going buying a house and putting something cheaper and putting something affordable on it and charging somebody rent. That shit is so easy. It's all mindset. But there's really not. The problem is this: we want what the white counterpart our age has. That's our problem. That's why I said I'm 40 years old. You know, man, I qualified $260,000. I want the $240,000, you know, condo near town and driving at the perfect buy Publix, buy Whole Foods. We want all of that because they got it. And then you get it then what? Now you just a dumb fool like them because they don't want gentrification. I showed y'all gentrification. It wasn't helping them out.
Right.
They buy a condo on 11th Avenue in the Gulch, right? The rent is $2,500, $2,700. It's 600 square feet. It's this big. This big. Are you serious? If she have a baby, if she gets pregnant, and he got one too, they don't live together. He got one and she got one. Combined, they paying like $6,000, what, 52 to $5,200 to $6,000. Look how dumb that is. That ain't smart. That's not intelligent. Just because they do it don't mean it's better. It's not intelligent. So as soon as she gets pregnant, they got to do what? They got to move where? So Franklin and spend where they're gonna get the most bang for their buck is moving to Williamson County, and then they're gonna drive all the way in. Why you want to do that? So you can say you just like them? That's your problem. Your mindset is messed up.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Mindset?
All right. So with that said, Tommy, thank you so much. You have any? It's a lot. You have any final words that you want to drop on our viewers out here? You got a lot of some
bro. You got to give them your math, brother. You got to give them your information.
So you guys can, if you guys are trying to, purchase a house from us or anything like that, our website is under construction. But you can contact us at 615-654-7511. That's Karma Homes. You can reach us at Karma Homes. So it's facebook.com/Karma Prefab Homes. So I'm on Facebook, also on Instagram. It's Karma Homes LLC. And but what we really do a lot of the teaching is Karma Real Estate Academy. So you can look up Karma Real Estate Academy. It's a black and gold crescent on Instagram, but also on Facebook. And it just tap in, just bring yourself. Ain't no questions dumb, ain't no bad questions. We here to learn. We come from a teacher perspective. Karma Homes is 3 business owners. All of us teach. And all of us learn daily. We're all humble because we all like to get information. So one of our owners is a professor at Fisk University. He's also a real estate investor. Matthias, and then James Marshall, good brother. Y'all gonna see so much stuff come out of this brother. The dude he's a genius. The dude's a little genius, man. Like for real, he's a genius. He's like he'll be a mogul. I wouldn't even be surprised. He'll be a mogul. Look, my partner got a TV network coming out, yo. Y'all want to put the podcast on the TV network?
Okay, we go. All right, James, we go holler at you. We need to talk. We need to talk.
It's like the new Master P right here, man. I'm telling
you.
Okay.
So we just want it the right way, and we're not greedy. We want everybody to win, and there's enough money to go around. We look at it from a grassroots standpoint. The more people we can help get this, the more people can rise, and then we rise. Because you're not gonna stop me from getting 50 doors, right? 100 doors. You give me 100 doors at $500 a piece. We wealthy forever, right? It's just 100,
right?
So everybody's goal should be 100 doors at $500. Passive income. There you go.
Thank you, Tom. What I want to add to that real quick in my final words, and then Kyle, please share us and bless us with your final words, is Tommy, thank you so much, because that's in essence what community building is about. There's a lot to it, but I'm going to try and keep it real brief. I'm looking forward to the day where inner city youth, quote unquote minorities, whatever you want to call it, can submit a resume, right, and not have to worry about being stereotyped because of the sounding of their name. It sounds too black and they can't get a job. or they go into an interview, and because they don't have anything in common with the interviewer, they can't get a job. Their skill sets are being limited because of the limitations of the person interviewing them. When we come together and build a community and we can start building our own, I look forward to that day when people can be treated based on the content of their character, and the infamous words of Malcolm X, as opposed to the color of their skin. So the work that you're doing and trying to build the community and share the wealth to let everybody build it will make us all better. And I look forward to that day. So those are my final words. If you need my social media platforms, just check us out at the end of the video. You see where I'm at on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that other good stuff. So those are my final words. Tommy, thank you so much. Kyle?
Yes, indeed, brother. Man, brother, you dropped a lot of valid info that we all have to go unpack. But I appreciate it, because this is part of the work, but this is part of righteous work, man. And it's just like, I appreciate you spending time with us and sharing your knowledge, and also giving us the opportunity to build with you for those of our audience members and family, man, who want to go further in their knowledge on real estate development, investment, and even just with history, and how we can just help each other grow and help inform each other. And I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys, man. I love you guys.
I love
Man,
you, brother.
love you, brother.
1, 2, 3, peace.